In this episode of the IT Experts podcast, I talked to Ian Benjamin from DigitalExecs. Now, Ian is an expert in recruiting the right people in your IT and your tech business, and we're going to help you not only find the right candidate, attract the right candidate, interview the right candidate, and get the right people in your organisation. I hope you enjoy the show. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the IT Experts Growth Academy podcast, the only podcast to help ambitious IT and tech business owners increase their sales, profit and productivity. So welcome to the show, and this afternoon I've got a special guest for you, Ian Benjamin from DigitalExecs. Now, Ian is an expert in headhunting, recruiting and finding the right people in IT and tech businesses. So welcome to the show, Ian.
Hey, thank you for having me, Ian. And pleasure to be involved. Thanks for the invitation.
No problem whatsoever. Now, Ian, the reason that I've invited you onto the podcast this afternoon is I know that you've got years of experience on both sides of the recruitment, world, as it would be, helping companies recruit people and also helping candidates recruit people, get the right jobs and stuff. Now, today I want to talk about what IT and tech businesses need to do to get the right people, because we've got a bit of an issue here, and the issue is that there's an absolute ton of contractors out there, technically, savvy contractors out there. And yet there's a lot of people as well who want to grow apprentices, grow engineers within their business. And there's in my mastermind and peer groups, there's a big tie between, do I get an apprentice in or do I just use a contractor for the piece of work? So, today I want to expel kind of as many of those myths as we can, break it down, make it really simple. These are the steps you need to take to recruit someone, because ultimately, if you are recruiting the right person, they're going to share your values, they're going to be more loyal, you're going to get more out of them, rather than just training up contractors who are going to effectively go out and go and work elsewhere. So do you want to just spend a couple of minutes and just explain kind of who you are, what you do and who you help?
Okay, cool. So, I am a digital recruiter, IT, do a little bit of IT development as well, but mainly but at the end of the day, the same processes are put in place to attract talent within the digital and IT sector. And right now, as a country, the UK and probably America as well, there is a massive candidate shortage. For the first time in 40 years, unemployment is at its lowest, which means there is a small pool, a shrinking pool of talent out there to fish from, to hire from, to engage with. And so essentially, depending on the size of the business, some companies do feel as though the contractor is the right option, depending on what sort of projects they're working on. But if someone's looking for longevity, long-term growth, I couldn't recommend high enough to bring someone in, a long-term employee, and to develop them, and to be part of that journey and of the growth of the company. If that makes sense. So that's what I do. The majority of the hires that I make, or a lot of time that I'm brought in to hire one or two individuals or whatever it is for a company, they're typically, I'm not a contract recruiter per se, I'm a permanent recruiter. Right. But I think contracts is growing massively, but I think it's because a lot of companies are working on a contract basis where they've got a project that's over a period of time or X amount of budget. So that's probably why they opt for that. But I think, if somebody had a choice, if they had an opportunity to hire someone long term, I think they would go for a permanent person over a contractor, for many reasons, being that the person can become part of the company in terms of, as you mentioned, about values. Plus, they would just be, more committed to the long journey, if you like, if from a permanent hire, if that makes sense.
Okay. Talk to me just briefly about, one of the things that I like about your model is you do a video CV type of thing, don't you? You're using tech yourself.
Basically, video technology in recruitment is going to explode this year. For the last 2 or 3 years, I've used a lot of video, job descriptions to bring a
Yeah.
vacancy to life.
Sorry, that was it. Job descriptions, wasn't it? Not
Not
CVs. Yeah.
CVs, the job description.
Yeah.
So, because there's a shrinking pool of talent, and a lot of people or recruiters and companies are going after the same person. So you've got a developer or you've got a digital SEO person that's really, really good, and they're being bombarded with job descriptions in their inbox every day. Video stands out. It gives the candidate, the developer or the SEO person that we're using as an example, it gives them an insight into what the company looks like, what the workstation is, what products they're developing or working on.
So they do a video of the actual, this is the desk where you're going to work, this is the environment you're going to be in,
Yeah,
and that sort of thing.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, you can get photographs of the team on there. You can get some of the videos that I've done recently have been on the staff testimonials where you've got 3 or 4 members of the team giving 25, 30 seconds insight into why they joined the company, their journey, what they're doing. And so that is sent to a potential candidate. So that candidate can see and hear all the key points about the role, but also they can see and hear why they should join or why they may want to join that business, and they can hear it firsthand, which is a lot more powerful than a written job description.
So why did you start to do that then?
Because shrinking pool of talent that's out there, so you wanted to engage with talent. And I mean, I'm not saying the video job description is the only way to do it. I think a written text job ad works hand in hand, and I think the video job descriptions, they act as a icebreaker. They're not the be all and end all, and they will never ever replace a written job ad. But what they do is the icebreaker engages the candidate to better understand what the opportunity looks like, what the company looks like, etc. And the reason why I've done that is to engage candidates better, inform them better. It's also a USP. So when I'm speaking to a potential new employer who wants to recruit someone, I provide that as standard service. If I'm working on the vacancy exclusively, then they would get that service as part of my standard offering, where they get a presenter. They can choose from like several presenters, and something that I do. And I reach out to candidates with that video on LinkedIn or in my database, send them a link to the video, and it's a differentiator. And
And what have you seen? And what have you seen the benefits to the end your customers and clients on that basis?
They love it. They love it. They're like, well, how come everyone doesn't do this? Because I mean, if you posted something right now on LinkedIn yourself, Ian, you posted just put some text up about, I've got a seminar going on, I've got a webinar, I've got an event going on, and just a written posting, and versus you putting a video up about that event that you're doing or whatever it is, the engagement or the views is going to be triple. I mean, or even more, just 10,000 times more.
Yeah. So you work all over the UK, and also it sounds like you've got a bit of work going on in Europe at the minute, Ian, then.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So I've got 2 vacancies in Vienna, a content marketing manager, and for the same company, they also looking for a digital market manager. So yeah, it doesn't really matter really. I mean, with the internet, you can reach out to a lot of candidates, and again, with videos, if you stand a more chance of engaging somebody overseas if you've got video. Plus, the market overseas isn't as congested as the UK. The UK recruitment market is just way too many recruiters. So competitive, but it's different in America and in other parts of Europe. It's not so congested.
Well, the way you got your video set up, though, certainly, and also that you get an interview back, don't you? The video interview back from the candidate as well, which I've seen a few with my clients, and that works really, really well. The first thing I want to ask you is kind of do's and don'ts around a couple of points. We've got you've got a typical kind of tech company, anything between kind of £500,000 and £3 or £4 million, and they want to bring in some new staff. There could be at any kind of level. What are the things that they need to do?
So in this day and age, as I mentioned earlier, there is a shrinking pool of talent out there. So the talent pretty much is a candidate-led market,
which isn't good, is it?
Well, it's good for the candidate because if you're a developer, then you've got a choice. You can, you're in demand. So, but I think there are some good things that come out of it, because I think companies, employers now need to be more invest more time in the candidate. where before they would put together some benefits. For example, you're going to get a pay rise every year, or you're going to get another day's holiday, but not one size doesn't fit all. So someone who may want more money or want more holiday, somebody may want to have a day off in the week, or they may want to dress down on a Friday, or they may want to have a pool table in the office. You know what I mean? So all these different types of things, or they may want more career development opportunities, which would enhance the employer as well going forward if that candidate or that employee has got more skills that they can then bring into the business. So those are the sort of things I think employers in the 21st century now have to do more of, which is providing more benefits that are bespoke to their employees. So whereas before, as I said, it was more of a generic one-size-fits-all type of process, and I think that that's wrong. I think it has to change. And also things like the job descriptions years ago, you must have this, and this, and which still happens today. The majority of job descriptions are still the same. Where that should change to be more that we can provide you with this. We are looking for this type of person, and we can provide you with this and this and this. So there's got to be a bit more of a shift in that direction to attract talent. They've got a choice, but even if they haven't got a choice, I think it's better for all of us, our family, friends, anyone that we know, in terms of them getting a bit more out of work. People are talking about doing 4-day working weeks now. There's a lot of companies that are doing that. I don't think it work in my industry because I've got people ringing me.
I don't think it work in mine either.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. But I mean, companies got to be more open to working from home once in a while. Blah blah blah. Logging in, and depending on what role you do, you can log in from home, etc. Depending on what role you are in. Do you know what I mean?
So when they're positioning the job description and they're positioning it, what you're kind of saying is that there need to be more about, who the company are, who they stand for, the vision, the values, the mission, what you want to do, what type of people they're trying to.
It's got to be more focused on the candidate, instead of being focused on themselves. Historically, it's like, no, we want this, and this, and this, which is fine. When you've got 10,000 people going for the same job, then you can do that. But right now, that isn't the case. So you've got to be more leaning towards benefiting the candidate, the employee. You've got to, and which is something that more companies are waking up to that fact now. There is a shrinking pool of talent out there.
And when I said that that's not a good thing, the reason that someone mentioned to me last year, there's like a 1% or really, really low percentage of unemployment in the tech space or available roles, which means to me there's an awful lot of crap people that are employed. Now, for someone who's kind of based a lot of my career around people development, and we look at the kind of the work we do with the people performance program within the IT experts community. It's about getting the right people in the right job and knowing that they're going to be doing a good job on that. So, Ian, once we've got the candidates, we've got the candidates coming in, we're going to talk in a little minute about how to conduct the interview and what you need to do when you actually get the interview. But is there a step in terms of having a video call, a conference call, a quick chat with them on the phone? What's the best way to do that? How do you guys currently do that?
I think, well, again, as standard, we've got two major components that are standard to what we do. The first one is video interviews. The second one is video job descriptions to attract the candidate in the first place, and then video interviews, because it could be that the company is in London and the employee or the candidate's in Nottingham, and so to have a video interview, 5-6 questions that the company want that candidate to answer, so that candidate driving down all the way. But also, it gives the employer an opportunity to share that video interview, the link to that, with their other members of their team, peers, etc., other people, so they can watch it on the go, watch it at home, watch it. So it's more of a collective decision, where a lot of times, you go for an interview and you just see one person.
It was actually quite good. I saw one in my client's office that you sent over a little while ago, and you can actually go where you are when they answer the question. It comes up on the screen, doesn't it? And then you can actually click down through the video on which particular question that they're answering and go straight to that question, can't you? You can
exactly.
It's really smart.
Yeah, exactly. You can go straight to 100%. And also, I, as a recruiter, I can record the interview. So if I was putting you forward for a role,
Yeah,
send you the link. You can do the interview in your own time, or I can do the interview, be in the interview room with you. So both,
okay.
so when I send the file to the candidate, to the client, sorry, it's to both of us. So the client will see me on the split screen asking the candidate questions and hearing the candidate and watching the candidate answer questions. So yeah, I think it's really, really good. It saves a lot of time as well. And if someone's overseas as well, it's just brilliant. And
I'm really impressed with that. That's, I think, but it's about having that pre-chat, because, you know, when you're sitting there for an hour with someone, which is going to work out to be an hour and a half by the time you had the interview and you've done the prep before and the feedback afterwards, that's a lot of time for a business owner to be spending if you're not really, really certain this is someone you want in your organisation.
Yeah. I think, you know, it's critical nowadays to do that video interviews, without a doubt, 100%. And also share the responsibility of sort of bringing someone in, get your peers involved in seeing whether, you know, you should bring that person
get the
in.
leadership team involved as well. No, that's a good shout. So just talk to me about the actual interview themselves, because I see so many times people just rock up for an interview and then the client might be sitting there, we're having a chat about them. But you need to have a structured way, because there's a couple of things here I think I just want to pull out of this. Is number one, about having a scoring mechanism, if you can kind of touch on that. But also, you've got to be really, really careful with equal opportunities these days as well, haven't you? If you can't demonstrate why someone hasn't got a job, then you could potentially be open to, a claim of, sexual or racial discrimination or whatever it might be. They're not even employed by you. You're never going to employ them because of their skill set, but you just, I think that's a really key thing. It'd just be great just to touch on those things. What happens on the day or before the day, when they've got the candidate turning up? What's the things that we really need to make sure that we're doing?
Okay, so in terms of pretty much like compliance, really. But I mean, I think, you've got to give, for the candidate a fair opportunity. And if within 30 seconds of meeting somebody, they're not right for the job, which happens a lot of the time. You think, oh my God, I've waited a whole day now. I could have gone to Nottingham to see a client or whatever, or go to an exhibition or something. But I've sat here to meet Trevor, and I don't think he's not right for the role. 100% isn't correct. But you sit there and you go through the process. You go through the motions of interviewing them properly about a role, which is what people have to do. So you go through the process of interviewing somebody. But I mean, it comes down to feedback. You have to give feedback. But funny enough, I had a conversation with somebody about 2 hours ago, if that, a candidate. And he said to me, he's waiting to find out about a job for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it's like the final stage.
Right.
And he said that previous to that current interview, another interview he had, he's never had any feedback, because he heard from someone else who interviewed there that the employer feels that if they give real feedback, they might end up getting a lawsuit or getting bad mouthed on social media, blah blah blah. But candidates do want feedback.
Yeah.
But some people do take it to the nth degree where they think, well, that isn't right about me. I'm not that sort of person. So some companies are very shy. More companies are more shy these days about feedback than they should be, or than they were, because of how people's reaction is to feedback, whether it's constructive feedback or not. Some companies are shy about it. They'd rather not do anything, which I think is worse.
Yeah.
But, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, how would you wish to be treated? If you've done something wrong, everybody learns from feedback. Everyone learns from feedback and mistakes, and it's not until you've made a few mistakes that you then start to learn. And if you've gone into an interview and you haven't got the capability, you need to go and do a bit more training and and development or whatever it is in a particular area, then go and do it and then come back. But I guess it's some of the less honest and onerous business owners who probably think of other reasons why not to employ these people.
Maybe they gave feedback to the hired like 2 people last year, and they gave feedback, and out of that process they interviewed like 10 people, and 3 or 4 of them went onto social media and slagged the company off, or they went onto Glassdoor and an employee and done something, or so it's what do you do? But I think no matter what experience. Yeah, exactly.
But it's really important that when you're in your interview that you've got a list of set questions, answers, so that you can kind of score those candidates as well, because then that helps you kind of keep on track, and that justification of whether or not they were the right candidate for the job. And I'm amazed at the amount of people who don't actually do that.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, 100%. You've got to have a mix of questions that are obviously relevant to the role, about the experience. You may want to have questions that are about trying to find out about what sits. In other words, to kind of look under the bonnet of the candidate in terms of what their motivations are. Do you know what I mean? Why are they here?
What do they want to do?
What do they want to do? Why they left their job, or why they're looking? What appealed to them about them? Just want to kind of dig a bit deep. You can, put together questions like that so they can kind of open up, if you like, about their motivations for that position.
No, that's cool. And then what sort of time frame after the interview should you really be getting back to them to give them a bit of feedback?
I think no later than 2 days afterwards.
Yeah, pretty quickly. Let them know what's going on, and as you say, give them that feedback, and let them. They might not be right for the role now, but they might be right in a couple of years' time, because they know a little bit more about your business.
Definitely, it doesn't happen that way though. I mean, sometimes that's what I like. I chase my clients up so I can go back to my candidate, because the candidate wants to know. And the same as you, if you go for an interview, you want to know straight away. And but sometimes people, I leave it for weeks, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. But
no, you need to be. In this case, it's kind of like how would you wish to be treated? Well, how do you feel? So it's kind of like the whole. Almost the whole episode, but the whole idea of recruiting and bringing someone else into your family. And I heard someone say the other day, treat your clients like royalty and your employees like family. And it's about being self-aware on what they want and how they want to feel. And, and that's the big thing around kind of the whole leadership and the employee engagement side of things. But that's some great tips there. Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes, it could be that there's a long interview process. So you can't tell someone within a couple of days or within a week. But but once you find out that someone is no longer in the process, let them know. And but sometimes, they might have like hundreds of people apply for a role. So you might not find out for 4, 5, 6 weeks. But if you know that John isn't right or Jane isn't right, let them know. Don't keep them hanging out
straight away. Tell them straight away. No, that's good. So Ian, we know that there's a shortage of candidates. We know that you've got to get your company image and all the other bits and pieces right, so that you're attracting to that candidate the right candidate itself. Mm-hmm. What are some of the key steps now that we need to consider when we're talking about interviewing and selecting? Once we're starting to get this new flurry of of candidates coming through the door.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about your client's IT, there's got to be some good testing in place. Good testing. They've obviously got psychometric testing. I'm not a big fan of that, but that's there's some really good. I think they've improved significantly from when they were first introduced. There was a company called Thomas International that have got a really good solution for that.
What does that tell you then? Why is that important? Or why have you not been a fan of it?
Well, because I've just years ago I've seen where somebody can wake up one day basically without going into too much detail about it, getting too geeky on it, but just to kind of give you a rough synopsis, is that somebody can go into a company, sit down, or log on from home, take a test. And then the next day, take the same test the next day and get different results.
Really?
They've got different hat on. Do you know what I mean? But that isn't necessarily true nowadays. People do swear by them, but I know that has happened historically, and because you might wake up one day thinking or feeling different to how you felt yesterday.
Yeah.
Certain things. Do you know what I mean? I know the questions can be skewed, so they're a bit more better than that. But and so that makes me think about them. But I think for some roles, and some companies love them, some companies swear by them. So you've got psychometric testing as an option.
Yeah. I think about knowing the person, isn't it? That you're just about to interview before you interview them, really.
Yeah, definitely. But also now they do it as well for more, not just about from a psychometric testing point of view, but it's like, what sort of person are you? Are you like green, red, or blue?
Yeah.
So if there's a certain type of confrontation in the office.
Is that like disc profile you're talking about there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that can come into play. I think there's some really, really good skills testing technology that's out there as well. skills testing. So from a development point of view, I'm thinking about your IT clients now, so
Right.
for developers. So there's some really good skill testings out there. That needs to be really, really thorough. But I think as well, culture fit, if someone's going to work for a company on a permanent basis, because contract, you can just send someone as your contract, say, you can send your CV into a company and then you can start within a couple of days. There isn't a real thorough interview process. It's a lot quicker. Contract recruitment is pretty much like that. But permanent hires, I think you've got to be a bit more diligent about it, and it's got to be a fit for both the company and also for the employee as well. So depending on the role, depending on the seniority, if it's a manager, I think you need to meet the team, spend some time meeting the team, lunch, etc. Spend some time in the office, and so he and she can, and the company can feel that there is some synergies there, that it is going to work. So yeah, I think meeting the team, all that sort of stuff is really, really essential these days. But also what's really important is an onboarding process. Typically speaking, when someone's gets a job, and they're in a current position, it's like 4 weeks is the average sort of notice period. And that is when a lot of employees during that 4 week window feel like a ship that's lost in the night, they're just kind of like sailing around for that 4 week period. And also with the way the market is right now, that's an opportunity for them to be counter offered by their existing employer. It's an opportunity in that window for a new employer to come in and take that person. So when someone hires someone in that 4 week window, I think it's essential that they are kept in the loop using, maybe social media, to engage with them for the company page, bring them out for lunch, get them to meet the team, come in for some internal meetings.
Just feel part of the business before you've actually turned up, don't you?
100%. So that Sunday night before you start work, your first day is the next day, in the Monday morning. On that Sunday, you want to think, I'm going in tomorrow, my new job. I'm going to know what I'm doing. I know I'm a parking space. I'm going to be going to I know where the coffee machine is, and then I'm going to be sitting next to Jane, and I'm going to be doing this and this. So it's a bit more of a smoother transition from like going 4 weeks thinking, what am I going to do? So on many levels, that period is critical, because more importantly for your client, potentially, they may lose that employee. That employee is just out there for 4 weeks. They can be, as I mentioned, they can be counter offered. Like another company can come in and take them away. So I think engagement for that, it's got to be, if it's critical in this day and age.
And this is actually, it's exactly the same as when you're onboarding a new client as well. Actually, you need to make sure that they're loved and that they're in that process, because when you get, the same with buying a product, service and solution from someone, also you get a case of where you could get buyer's remorse, but they might not want that job, or they're going to kind of go and do another job. But a simple onboarding process is absolutely critical to
100%.
ensure that they, that they, number one, they stay and they feel loved from day one.
Yeah, but a lot of companies don't do that, and I think they should do that. But they should get involved in that. I also think the whole recruitment process, a lot of companies can do more themselves, in terms of having their. This is kind of going back a little bit here, but in terms of current clients of yours, they could use their own Facebook page. They could get referrals from their own employees. And again, using staff testimonials on their website, the careers page, all that sort of stuff is really, really key. So people can say, oh, okay, that person's been there for 3 years or 3 months or whatever. So they could do a lot of stuff themselves.
Excellent stuff. And now it's time for the Innovator Success Quickfire round. Okay, Ian, question 1. If you were to bottle one part of your business journey and sell it, get full domination and copious amounts of cash coming in, what would it be?
I don't remember if this is the right answer, but years ago when I started out in sales, I worked in a sort of like, I wouldn't say a boardroom environment, but just like a hardcore sales environment, and that was great, and which just huge impact on development, personal development, shaping me as a young adult as well. So that's massive, and that's some of the skills or experiences that I went through in that period. I value, and I think they're part of how I go about my day to day, really, in terms of resistance, calling people, following up with people, the whole etiquette, follow-ups, and that whole sort of drive that it kind of taught me. I think that's, I don't know whether that makes sense. But
Yeah, I mean, so what you're basically saying there, it's about you working on your kind of your mindset and you as an individual, rather than on some of the kind of the core skills, because business at the end of the day is about building rapport, isn't it? Building rapport and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I think, just about learning those sort of values. I think a lot of those values now with the millennials aren't in place, where it's all about them, and just different sort of outlook that I've instilled, where, old school sort of mentality versus the new school sort of mentality in some instances with the millennials, where it's all about them. And I just think, it's a different sort of way of applying yourself to work.
I was talking to a client earlier on, actually, who got a guy come and work for him who was a millennial, and he was turning up later and later and later. And then, it was going home early and all these sorts of things. I said, you just got to nip that in the bud and just have a frank conversation with him, quite politely. The bit of advice I gave him actually was use the power of the pause, which is really, really powerful. So let's do a bit of coaching while we're here. This is not now a quick fire round. This is a long fire round. So if you've got somebody there who's taking the mickey, they're coming in late, etc., as a business owner, just sit down with them, sit down next to them, and just sort of say, look, I understand you're a little bit late. You're doing some really good work when you're here. However, we can't tolerate this because we need to, be consistent across the board. Is there anything I can do to help you, getting in a bit earlier? What normally happens now is the employee would sit there and he'd kind of go, well, and then you would jump in and fill the gap because it gets awkward. But what you do, difficult for me, you just keep quiet and you wait, even if it takes 1 or 2 minutes. And what they come out and speak, well, I could get up earlier. Excellent. Right. So you've just told me you could get up earlier. So why don't you get up earlier? And then I don't have to have these conversations with you. Write it down on a pen and paper, write it down on their appraisal form or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
When they see you writing it down, they're absolutely going to crap themselves because they're wondering why you're writing it down.
Yeah.
You just need to be consistent.
Well, not only that, and then you should email it to them as well. So that
just had this conversation today about you coming in late. You agreed it's unacceptable because you're telling me it's unacceptable. Looking forward to improved performance over the next month, and that's when, we've talked about this before, and we could go on for bloody months about talking about appraisal systems and performance management and all that kind of stuff, which I'm sure we will do one day. But it is having that mindset. And as you say, bottling your personal development and putting that in place. And then, you're more self-aware and you know exactly how to manage and help other people. There you go. A little bit of a spin of a golden nugget right in the middle of your question.
There we go.
Value all
Bonus
the way.
Nugget.
Good. Okay. Question 2. What's the biggest learning and regret that you've got, while you've been building and growing your business that you'd care to share with the listeners today?
Regret. Oh my gosh, biggest regret I would say is I had an opportunity to go into partnership with another recruitment company and I didn't do it. Right. And I think I would have been a lot bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, that happens.
Would that have given you the lifestyle that you've got now in terms of the the kind of the flexibility around that, or was it around at that time?
It happened at a time when things were looking to be really good, and then I had a bad run where I lost. I got backdoored by a client, lost a lot of fees.
Right.
Within a couple of months of that situation.
Right.
And I didn't revisit it with them. They'd already made their choices and gone on with their business in terms of the opportunity that I had to join another company.
Right.
So something that I it's not only regret. It's not a massive regret, but that's the only one that I can think of.
Just having a bit of due diligence. If you're going into partnership with someone, have it. Do the due diligence for the good and the bad.
Exactly.
You think that might have paid off, but you don't know because you didn't try it. Or didn't go forwards. But and I vouch that as well. Many people, I come across, we should do this, we should do that. And you need to look at it, and it's like, does it help me, get more clients, and does it help me retain the clients? That's the kind of
exactly. I mean, I think I could have grown the business. It could have been a part of a bigger company right now as a director, blah blah blah. But I thought, no, I want to give it a go on my own.
Yeah.
They're thriving, and I'm pretty much, in the same sort of size. Not that I'm sort of big deal, but I mean, right. It is a lifestyle business per se that I've got. to a certain degree. But in hindsight, yeah. But I mean, we haven't got a crystal ball, have we? So
no, we certainly haven't. I'm sure someone out there has though, but we'll give it a go. Okay, final question. Question 3. What is the favourite app you've got on your phone and why?
LinkedIn. LinkedIn, easily. It's an easy question for you to answer. Really.
That's I'm a recruiter.
I'm a recruiter. I'm on it all the time. That's really easy. On it all the time. Looking at candidates, blah blah blah. Looking at things that I've sent out to people, messages coming back in.
Excellent.
I use LinkedIn massively. I'm not really a Facebook person. I'm on Facebook, but I don't post on there that often. I do business sometimes, but LinkedIn, and also my health app, the health app. Like how far I've walked.
Steps up.
Yeah, because we've got a dog. Take the dog out for walks. How far I've walked, but that's it. But no, without a doubt, LinkedIn by far.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, that's good, and that's probably not an unsurprising result, really. So not an unsurprising app for a recruiter, because that was what LinkedIn was originally there for. Excellent. Well, let's just wrap things up now, Ian. That's been absolutely brilliant. Thanks again for your time this afternoon. Listening back to this episode, we're going to put some of the links to the in the show notes of how you can contact Ian, and get an opportunity in a minute just to share us what those are. But when you're trying to attract your candidates under the people performance program that we use in the IT Experts Growth Accelerator, helping people to get the right people. If you don't get the right people, you're not going to manage the right people. If you don't manage the right people and lead the right people, then they're going to leave. You don't underestimate how much that costs you to recruit the right people. At the end of the day,
you've got to get it right. You've got to get it right. Or if you get it, hard to run people, it can be really, really expensive. So you've got to get it right, and you've got to work with a good recruitment partner that understands your business. Is going to spend time, give them the time to understand their business, then they can promote your opportunities better for you.
Absolutely.
And and you need to, if you're recruiting in a space where there aren't many candidates, you need to be innovative. You just can't post a job out saying, I want X, Y, Z now. You've got to have this. Can't do it in this day and age. You won't get the best people. You know what I mean? So,
no, that's absolutely brilliant. Ian, do you want to just share with the listeners how they can get in contact with you and how they can kind of find you if they want to learn a little bit more about how the process works and how you can help them?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no obligation for a consultation, for a phone call, for a chat with me, for a coffee. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Ian Benjamin. Alternatively, DigitalExecs.com is a website.
Excellent.
Just kind of reach out to me on LinkedIn, from the website. More than happy to kind of have a chat with people on the phone about their challenges or what they're looking to do. And kind of go from there, really. Yeah,
that's brilliant. Well, thanks again, Ian. Thanks very much for your time. Really good show there to help the business owners understand how we get the right people in the right organisation in the right seat. So that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm going to catch up with you on the next one. Take care, Ian.
Cheers.
So thanks very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, then please remember to subscribe, rate and review. I'd really appreciate that. And also check the show notes out for all the latest developments at the IT Experts Growth Academy. If we haven't already, then let's connect on LinkedIn, YouTube and over at our website at innovate2success.com. Until next time, you look after yourself and I'll catch up with you soon.